Good morning, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane and Hurricane HD video blog for the morning time here of the 23rd of October. Going to have two blogs today, two video blogs for you, one now and then one later this afternoon to take a detailed look at Sandy, a pretty important situation unfolding. First of all, a look at the forecast track from the Hurricane Center. Notice how it's basically off to the north-northeast here over the next 72 hours with a 3-day position in the central Bahamas. That's important because I want to show you something on the 12Z model runs that just came out, the simple numerical hurricane models. Let's look at the BAM Deep model right here, the beta and advection model, deep layer version, meaning that Sandy would be deep in the atmosphere, not a shallow system like a low swirl of clouds, but nice and thick and deep in the atmosphere, which is what it is. Notice the initial longitude, and this is 12 UTC, so this is 8 o'clock this morning. It's at 78.0 west. 12 hours out, it loses a little longitude. In other words, it goes just a little bit east of north at 77.6. And then at 24 hours, a little bit more at 77.3. But look what happens at 36 hours here. Now we start gaining some longitude back. In other words, it goes back towards the west a little bit. So it goes from 77.3 to 77.5. And you say, well, Mark, that's not really that significant. No, it's not a giant jump, but that is not moving east anymore. It's now moving west of north. And if we go out to 48 hours, it does so even more, 77.8. Finally, at 72 hours, and this is a key position here, 78.1 by 26.3 north. Now, where is that on a map? I'll show you. Instead of it being over here, it is over here, not more than 120 miles off the coast of Florida, in the northern Bahamas instead of down here in the central Bahamas. That is enough of a significant change over time that folks in Florida need to keep an eye on this, not because of a landfall coming into Florida, but because the circulation is going to be so large that that counterclockwise flow and that northeast wind is definitely going to bring an increase in wind, possible squally weather, and a very marked increase in the sea and surf conditions along the east coast of Florida. So it's interesting that the beta and advection, the BAM Deep model, the BAMD, having it at 26.3, 78.1 in 72 hours. And I say that too because of where the sea surface temperatures are in that region, nice and warm in the Bahamas, certainly very warm down in the Caribbean where it is now, and I'm going to focus more on the Caribbean impact in the afternoon update, but very, very warm sea surface temperatures all around, even for this late part of the hurricane season, and Sandy has a lot to work with. Now, looking at the Euro, and some interesting parallels here between the Euro and this latest run of the BAM Deep model. This is the Euro position for Sandy tonight at 8 o'clock, so this is valid tonight, still south of Jamaica, which is right there. If we go out another 24 hours, this will be valid Wednesday night, and you can see it just over Jamaica. And then Thursday night, the Euro showing it in the central Bahamas here. And now watch what happens. Instead of it going east or east-northeast or whatever, out to sea, the Euro actually brings it back to the north-northwest a little bit, not far from where the BAM Deep has it for its 72-hour position, which is right there. So the Euro and the BAM Deep are fairly close to each other at this similar time frame. And to me, that is an interesting change, that the Euro shows it gaining longitude again, whereas the BAM Deep also shows it gaining some longitude. So maybe the 12Z run of the GFS is going to show it getting a little bit closer to Florida than previously thought. That's something I will also cover in the afternoon update. Finally, at 120 hours out, the system, hurricane, whatever it is, incredible structure to it here in the model, at about 30 north and 75 west, or about 300 miles south of Cape Hatteras. Now this is the 850 millibar wind field, or the 5,000 foot winds, and your sea level pressure. Now let's look at the same time frame at the 500 millibar level going up in the atmosphere, and you can clearly see this trough digging in at day 5, and you got this big area of storminess out over the Atlantic, and then just a little ridge of high pressure in between the two, and then high pressure trying to build in way up here between Greenland and Europe. Now this is very, very, very important, because what the GFS wants to do is dig this trough in and then just kind of sweep everything along, handing Sandy out to this giant ocean storm like a rock heading towards a depression in the ground, rolling downhill, and it just lollygags it along, gets it out of there, no big deal. The Euro, on the other hand, starts to build the high pressure over the northern Atlantic right here in, and not allow Sandy to escape out to sea, but rather come up the east coast, and finally, by day 7, it's just off of New England, as fairly large height rises take place here, high pressure building up over the northern Atlantic, steering Sandy eventually into New England, captured by this trough digging in, blocked going out to sea by the high pressure over Newfoundland and the northern Atlantic near Greenland, between there and Newfoundland, and it doesn't allow it to just go on out to sea. The GFS, the Euro, in quite a duel. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out, as the implications are that this can have a huge impact on millions of people from Florida all the way up to Maine, and even in interior sections of the Northeast. So obviously the first concern is for the Caribbean, and like I said, I will address that even more at the afternoon video blog update, with some ideas on impacts to expect for Jamaica, Cuba, and the Bahamas. And then of course we'll look at what the 12Z run of the GFS does for any potential track changes down the road. Again, I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, my website. Always a privilege and a pleasure to produce these videos for you on Hurricane and Hurricane HD. Be sure to tune back in this afternoon, I'd say around 3 o'clock Eastern Time, for an updated version of the video blog at that time.